It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show. I've been raking up off these niggas for a minute now. Hey, y'all gonna learn to listen one way or another though. Hey, let's get it. Let me show you how I keep the money coming. Strapped up, Nike check, nigga run it. In the mirror, yeah, I love what I'm becoming. Ain't no discussion, boy, don't make me spit your onion. Hey, let me show you how I keep the money coming. Strapped up, Nike check, nigga run it. In the mirror, yeah, I love what I'm becoming. Ain't no discussion, boy, don't make me spit your onion. Hey, flashback to the days, I was in the days. I was sleeping on the couch, couldn't nobody stay. I was serving up the chicken, couldn't get a raise. Now I'm cooking up the game like I'm Bobby Flay. Fuck rap, I ain't got no friends in this shit. Put them M's to the front like a Benz in this shit. I be swimming through the money, got some fins in this shit. I be stomping through the street like some Timbs in this bitch. Made trends in this shit for some IOUs, but I don't lose. Construction how I tighten them screws. Tie my shoes, back on the block, straight to the bag, ho. Jumping off the porch for that green like a tadpole. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Industry, and number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. So last night we had the verses between Game and YG. Okay, we've had Game on, the people's minds as of the last couple of days. He's been the topic of conversation leading up to the verses. I see some people that feel like Stat Quo was doing that deliberately to get the talk around Game. And hey, very much possible. I mean, he is a part of the team. He has worked on his projects. So it makes sense. I don't know if the if the attention that he got was the attention that he wanted or needed. But as Glasses Malone calls him the heel, all attention is good for somebody who whole role is to play the I don't give a fuck role, you know? But coming into this whole YG Game versus, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was not excited about it at all. I didn't talk about it on my channel. I didn't mention it. Even while we was talking about Game, I didn't even mention the motherfucking verses because I didn't really care about it. I did watch it. I watched what I could of it, because my son was having a little trouble sleeping last night. But yeah, it was cool. But I feel like it played out a lot like what I expected. However, it didn't play out exactly how I expected because Game actually ended up not playing some of his best records, some of his more timeless records. I feel like he took a L off rip because what he tried to do was adapt the parts of his catalog that he could play that could match up with YG rather than play to his actual strengths. And that in itself shows you why this wasn't a good matchup. Now, I will say, Game and YG on stage together, it wasn't terrible. Some people try to make it seem like it was a shit show. Game was acting weird. He was definitely trying to command a bit too much attention. YG, he was in a good pocket. He was comfortable. He performed his shit. He didn't overdo it. He stayed real cool, real calm. He didn't get out of his character. Whereas Game, we don't get to see Game a lot. So we don't really know all the nuances of his personality, but him on stage, like, it wasn't a good look for Game necessarily. Especially as the vet out of the matchup. His performance was like, he tried to bring the energy, but every song didn't need the growl. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that Game just never grew out of because he's always performed that way. Even if you go back to, I remember back in the days when he was doing the GU Not campaign and he was dissing Jay-Z on stage and all that different type of shit. And I wasn't able to see those clips, but I remember those clips from back in the day of like Game going out to Amsterdam, dissing Bleak on stage and the Young Guns and 50 Cent and all that. And it was always these niggas can suck my dick. G-Unit can suck my dick. You know what I'm saying? And it's like he still performs that way 20 years later. So he never really grew as a performer, which we got to see last night. You know, everything was just the growl. And it's like, nigga, you're a better rapper than what you actually putting out, but you not remembering half your bars. You're growling on the mic instead of rapping. And then you're telling your DJ, what was it, DJ Charisma, to stop your track halfway through so you could try to rap the second verse of your shit. And then you're not even remembering the second verse of your shit. So it's taking you extra time to even get through the verse. Like, it just showed the level of professionality that Game just never picked up on as a vet, right? Now, what I will also say is that when he tried to play the more club friendly records, I didn't know those songs, never heard those songs in my life. Whereas YG, he had records in his mix that I did not know, but it was mixed in with a lot of records that I did know that I've heard before that were big records. Some that I didn't even knew I remembered, because I've never been a huge YG fan either. I've always, if I had to compare the two, I was definitely a big Game fan those first like 5-6 years Game was out. After the 2010 era, he still dropped some good music, but I was no longer really a fan. You know what I mean? I'd already been exhausted by the Game and his antics and, you know, goofy shit. Could never take away his talent though. So that just shows you how you could get outclassed by somebody who just knows how to stay in their pocket, knows how to cater to what it is that they do. And YG was put in a position where he was able to be himself, because this is all I've ever done. All I've ever done was gave y'all motherfucking shit to step to. You know what I mean? Even the more storytelling shit on the first album, he didn't even have to play none of that shit. You know? Because he had so many back-to-back joints. Now, I will say, at a certain point, the YG catalog did sound like one big, long song. You know what I mean? And that's always been my critique of that particular sound, is that once you hear a few of them, you throw a few of them back-to-back, it could sound like the same song been playing for an hour. You know what I mean? But that's not saying it with disrespect. That's just me being somebody who's not from LA, somebody who didn't grow up in that. And my era was not in the clubs or the teen clubs or in the mix of the house parties or whatever. That soundtrack was not to my life. You know what I mean? So I can't shit on nobody who's that's their soundtrack. Just wasn't mine. So I can't relate to it in the same way. But let's go ahead and pull up the the score sheet. Cause according to the fans, people are saying that YG washed Game in a 19-3 tally. I don't necessarily agree with 19-3, but we know who won that last night. We do know that much. And again, I don't think Game was gonna win, but I think he could have made it more competitive with his song selection. So, damn, why this fucking thing so? There not a better graphic of this? All right, so we got BPT versus Dope Boy to open it up, and Game had Travis Barker open it up on the stage playing the drums on Dope Boy. I actually thought that was dope. It was good energy. But unfortunately, as you have a live drummer playing to the record, he rapped over his vocals. How the hell you gonna have a live drummer come out just so you can rap over your vocals? Huh? Where'd they do that? So the fans voted 64% on that one to 36%. That's a pretty big, it's a pretty big gap. You get Big and Back being booed from YG, also taking it 51%, much closer to It's Okay One Blood. One Blood is more my era. It's a record that I can't say I identify with more, but just it's more of my time period. I remember when that record was out. I remember when everybody dropped a freestyle over that beat. I remember when that shit was going crazy, right? I feel like its moment was more hip hop than Big and Bat being boo. But Big and Bat being boo is more club, more anthem, more you know, more of representative of LA culture at the same time. You know what I mean? So it could have went either way. I would have chosen One Blood, but it lost. You got Fuck It Up, Kamaya featuring YG, and then you got My Flag, the Homies. Honestly, I don't even really know that record from Game. My Nigga versus West Side Story, that's a real tough one. That could have went either way. Uh Again, West Side Story is more my time period, but My Nigga was a fucking, I don't know. I think I would have took My Nigga in that one, honestly. My nigga, that my boy, goddamn Quan. So I don't know. But that was an actual, like, real matchup that round. My Nigga versus West Side Story. I know people gonna shit on West Side Story, but that record, I played that a lot when it came out. Played a lot of Game when he first came out. You got, but they say Game got it 51%. His first W. Next up you got Twist My Fingers versus Where I'm From. I ain't gonna lie, I really didn't know the Twist My Fingers records like that. I know Where I'm From featuring Nate Dogg. That's one of my favorites from Game. You know, unfortunate. It sucks even having to talk about Game because he is my era. But then when you look at who he's become, you look at the charges and stuff that's on him, the footage of him, what was it? A young India Love and all that shit. Like it don't even feel right giving him the credit he earned as a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So it also gets strange there. Um, so that's a L. That's an automatic L. Period. But anyway, where I'm from, just on a musical level, I guess I would have probably chosen that one. But Twist My Fingers took it 57%. So then you get Tooted and Booted, which is for most the introduction to YG versus Thought. I ain't gonna lie, I never heard that Thought record from Game ever in my life, and I don't think I ever want to hear it again. So Tooted and Booted took that. Who Do You Love with Drake versus Put You On Game. Again, another record of my era. Put You On Game. I used to play that record a lot. I played the documentary probably for 2 years straight when it dropped. You know what I mean? It was that dope. And that Timbaland beat, fire. Who Do You Love? Definitely a bigger record, a more impactful record. But when you play that Put You On Game around, certain group of people, that shit go up. YG took it. Then you get Fuck Donald Trump versus Red Nation. That's a pretty easy one. Fuck Donald Trump. You get You Broke featuring Nipsey versus Same Hoes featuring Nipsey. Love that Nipsey got his flowers from two niggas who loved him. Respect that. Um you got YG took that 66% to 34%. I'm not super familiar with either of those records, to be honest. Last time that I checked is a motherfucking monster. You can't win against that, period. You know what I'm saying? Versus They Roll. You get I Just Want to Party versus Start From Scratch. Again, Start From Scratch. You know, album that I love. I don't think Start From Scratch wins ever in a versus setting because it's just not the type of record that works. It's a storytelling song. You know what I mean? It's a pretty easy win. It's a good record though, but it doesn't fit in the format because you gotta build energy. You gotta build. It has to be the O factor. Start From Scratch ain't an O factor. So then you got Gangbang versus Dreams. Again, the juxtaposition of two eras, two sounds. Gangbang is crazy. Record been going crazy for a couple years now. Versus Dreams, which when it came out was a big record. It's one of those cult classic records. Kanye production at the height of Kanye. Game in his semi-conscious format, they say he won. I like that record more than Game Man, but I don't know. So then you get Slide, her featuring YG versus All That. I know Slide. I don't know All That by Game. Don't Tell Him, Jeremiah featuring YG versus All Eyes, Game, and Jeremiah. So as you can see, they kind of they coordinated this whole battle. You know what I mean? Which is why I think it played out the way it did, because they're trying to go, you know, shot for shot on some of these. Let's do our Nipsey records versus a Nipsey record. Let's do the Jeremiah record versus a Jeremiah record. Let's do club record versus a club record. You know what I mean? And again, that doesn't play the game's strength, because Game's best records are from his first really 3-4 albums. If you really want to narrow it down, it's like first 2 to 3 albums before he even started trying to collaborate with a lot of the niggas coming up and get into that vibe. So he handicapped himself. Um, Left Right versus 100, Drake record. YG played his Drake record earlier in the matchup. You got I'm Good versus My Life. My Life is another record, it did its thing during its time, but you can't play that against somebody like YG. You'd have to go against an artist who has more life music than club music. You know what I mean? So it's just, it didn't play out the right way. And as catchy as that Wayne hook is, I never really liked it. Anyway, Bompton versus Wouldn't Get Far. They say Bompton took it over Wouldn't Get Far. That's crazy. Wouldn't Get Far. It's another one. Kanye at the height of Kanye. Get a Kanye verse, Kanye beat. Melissa Ford driving a Honda Accord. That nigga still remember them bars. But that was like a landslide as far as the fan votes. Excuse me. I would have probably chose Wouldn't Get Far. Gang, Gang, Gangland versus Higher. Higher is another one. Again, generational gap. Because all that music, I remember where I was when it came out. I remember selling the documentary in school. Yeah, I remember having the leaked version of the documentary that I used to sell in school. Um, so it hit different for me. But it's like, damn, it's 2026 out this bitch, man. YG is just more current. Um, you got Bitches Ain't Shit versus How We Do. 55% to 45%. Again, I would have chose the last two. I would have chose Higher and How We Do if it was up to me. But the fan votes say otherwise. You got Still Brazy versus Hate It or Love It, featuring 50. That was a 50-50. It wasn't even a win for Game. They put a green on it, but how could that be a win if it's 50-50? They both should be green if that's the case. You got Big Bank versus Easy, Landslide, Big Bank. Then you got BPT, I'm a real slash gang business versus Let's Ride, Take It Off. Landslide, 74% vote. So again, they say this was a 19-3 win for YG. I would have probably gave Game maybe 5, 6. So it still would have been pretty bad. It just wasn't a good matchup. And styles make fights. That nigga Game came out doing weird dances. He was out there doing the goddamn. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Game? Are you trying to take it? You trying to take it back to the fucking gentleman club, ain't you? What the hell going on? You know, so niggas. I saw a lot of people commenting on his hair. I don't really care about the afro. Some people say, oh, he trying to be like Jay-Z with the afro. Game has been rocking the afro for a minute. He has interviews and other shows of him doing that way before Jay-Z rocked his fro. So I'm not really looking at it like that. He says his braider wasn't able to make it there in time, what have you. Whatever. I don't really give a fuck about that. There was a part that I missed that I seen people commenting about. What was it when what was the Asian girl? I heard the nigga talking about her being from wherever the fuck she was from. He was asking if she was from Japan or some shit. Did he snatch her up or something? Because I seen some people saying, "Let that girl go, gang. This how you got in trouble." I didn't see it. I was listening to it, but I was tending to my son at the same time. So I don't know, man. Like shit get weird. You know, I think there was a tense moment with RJ or some shit on the stage. Like it's just a few different little moments. They did kind of give each other flowers or what have you, Game and YG. Like I guess everybody, is it an everybody win situation for the West? I don't know. But again, I wasn't looking forward to it. It pretty much turned out exactly how I expected, but I did think some of the song choices you didn't get. Like I saw Ice from the Joe Budden podcast. He was like, Game didn't play Ali Boumaier, which I think was a definite miscalculation on his part. Because why would you not play that? There's a couple joints that he should have played. See if I can find this shit. No, I can't. Fuck it. But there's a few records that he definitely missed out on that could have stood out a little bit more. Hell, he ain't played the City or none of that shit. He ain't played none of the Kendrick records. Find that to be interesting. You ain't play On Me. That would have got people going. So even that looks strange, right? When you got memorable records with a certain person that you choose not to play in the midst of niggas feeling like you hating on that nigga. It's just, he put himself in the most unfavorable, unsavory position possible. So that's what I got for y'all on that, right? Now, before the verses started, Game and YG released a new record called Red People, produced by Timbaland and Swiss Beats. And what's crazy about it, I haven't heard the whole record. I heard a snippet of it. But it's like it's weird. You got Swiss Beats and Timbaland on the record with no trademark sounds from either one of them. They got Scoop DeVille drums with the motherfucking 187 Dr. Dre melody playing throughout. It's strange, but I haven't heard the whole thing. I'm gonna play it. If you hear it in the premiere and it gets taken out, you should understand why. But let me play it for the one time, shall we? Where's it at? Like an old throwaway. I'm not gonna lie. This sound like a 2012, 2013 throwaway from Game. Like, but that's just me. Crazy. That's crazy. You would never think to compare YG Game rapping, but why YG sound better on this record? It's crazy. Now somewhere, nigga, you want to get on some fucking ad-libs. Why you ain't put in on the beat, nigga? All I hear is goddamn Dr. Dre, 187 shit, and I hear Scoop DeVille drums. And where the fuck is Scoop DeVille, as a matter of fact? Because he was out here going crazy for a minute. I haven't seen nobody fucking with Scoop in a minute. Justice for Scoop DeVille. Y'all stole that man drums and they go say y'all produced this motherfucker. But yeah, my thoughts are still the same. It sounds like a 2012, 2013 game throwaway. YG sounded fresh on there. I think that song would have hit way different if it was a YG solo. I think it would have had a little bit more sauce to it. But you know, it was cool. I think it's actually a good look nonetheless, even if I ain't crazy about it, that we get people from VERZUZ to collab and put a song out in the midst of the competition. I think that's dope. I would like to see more people do that for VERZUZ. But since we're on the subject of VERZUZ, do we really need this to continue? Is this really essential entertainment? All the top dogs that we really cared about already went. It's a bunch of folks out there now that really don't want to participate in the VERZUZ. They're going to keep trying to negotiate who they can get. It's only a few left that we really gonna care about across all barriers, right? And they not gonna do it. So I think it's very interesting to see where that goes. But let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. I'll see y'all in a minute. Peace. Family over fame in this bitch, yeah. The glory of living righteous is setting in. My street knowledge and education's a perfect blend. Young mogul, independent, I've been setting trends. The first one from my family to be faithfully wed. Fuck niggas and the horses that they riding on. I see this shit from all angles like a polygon. I'm never politicking, the drama be piling on. Father and great son acknowledged like I'm Bobby Bonds. Conversation with my lady about the paper route. 5 sit bank accounts, every day I make it count. They down talking my commentary for hating now. Well, I can take it cause I'm bodying your favorite now, please. I could do this shit in my sleep. I been writing for these niggas, y'all read it and weep. I been fighting these niggas if you speak on the street. I'll turn your birthday party into New Year's Eve. Don't let me take it there. We ain't playing fair. This the ATL, Southside nigga moving furniture like Wayfair. Life on hold, no insurance for your healthcare. Lifeline gone, so you wanna be a millionaire? Well, let me tell you about this world I built. The women I dodged, the niggas that I ran for filth. The sympathy calls, consulting for the stacks I built. I had to evolve and grow cause I could've